Hold on, Kylo. I'm guessing you want to talk about
Oh,
God and his
yeah,
existence.
right. So, what will be your argument?
I would use an abductive argument. You would find that fine.
Yeah, could you render the argument?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say like the apparition of Fatima is best explained by like non-naturalistic explanations, and that auxiliary you can come up with.
Okay, now why should I think that? Well, to be clear, if you are Isaac Zillity, I'm
Wait, I
not
didn't
looking to
finish. I didn't
talk.
finish. I didn't finish. Oh, you don't want to talk to auxiliary?
Not I'd rather talk with you right now. Yep.
All right. Yeah.
Well, you said you're not finished with your line of reasoning.
Oh yeah. So I would say like the apparitions of Fatima would be best explained by non-naturalistic explanations, and that would show us that it would lead to like either two views where it's like, dang, he kicked him. Yo, I swear, auxiliary just kicked him. Yo, yo, auxiliary, what are you doing, bro? Yo, auxiliary, what are you doing, bro? I Loki can't let you do that, okay? Wait, give me a sec. Yo, you can't do that, bro. My bad, Kylo. Come back up.
Oh yeah, was I? I don't know why he's mod abusing, but anyways, so
All right, I took
could you
away his
please
bad practice. He's
could
still
you
mod.
please
Okay.
repeat that, please?
Yeah, I was just saying it's best explained by non-naturalistic explanations,
Okay.
and that would lead
You
us to two options. It would either be like, oh, you're lagging. Oh, he's off app now.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
You
Well, there's two responses you can levy here. So,
can't even
for
finish.
one, you're still not finished.
Dude, I just repeated myself a couple of times because like we got interrupted a couple of times. I just said it leads to non-naturalistic explanations, which leads us to like two options, which that it's either from like this deity or it's from like a different sort of non-naturalistic explanation. But like we would say that because the events aren't random, it couldn't be like
Hmm.
something non-intelligent. But that's sort of the gist. I can
Okay.
hear what your response is.
Yeah, so I have two responses. So the first response is now we could take the view where we grant it to be more expected under the theistic hypothesis, and then you just ask, well, how much does my raise my credence in theism being true, right? You can grant some things are better expected on contrary hypothesis, but under the naturalistic view there might just be overwhelming evidence that just overrides that. That's given a terrible interpretation. Now, but the route I want to take is, what about the supernatural hypothesis explains the datum that overrides or supersedes any naturalistic hypothesis?
Okay, so I can lay out the data. This might take a little longer than you might want to be up here for. I can lay out the data and then I can give you like three options for a naturalistic hypothesis and then you can tell me which one you take or you can provide a different option. That's fine with
Okay.
you.
Oh, yeah, well, before you, that's fine, but I have a preliminary question.
Mhm.
So, the given phenomena you're referencing, are you already stating that it's one which is supernatural? Or are you
No,
just
I'm just
stating
laying out the data.
sure, so yeah, I guess just what is the case?
Okay, so there are allegedly six appearances of Mary between the dates of May 13th, 1917 and October 13th, 1917. Each apparition appearing on the 13th of the first 13th of the month, except for in August, which I can explain later. There was three
Are these
kids.
testimonies?
Yeah, yeah. So there's three kids: Lucia de Santos, who's 10, Francisco Marto, who's 9, Jusito Marto, who's 7 years old, and they reported to have encounters with like a woman at a place called Covideira or something like that. So the evidence about that would suggest that the apparitions, if they're true, provided like a falsifiable timeline. Meaning, if the kids like didn't see the apparition, then they would know that it's false because they asked for like a schedule or the apparition provided a schedule, and then like if the apparition didn't show up, then we wouldn't like it was falsifiable. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, and then we see that the children consistently describe the same figure of like we like descriptions like she's a woman who has extraordinary beauty, who's intensely luminous. She's extremely bright. Um, she has white garments plus gold accents, a white cloak, and a rosary in her hands. And interrogated separately, the children agreed upon all of these details almost unanimously, even when pressed like by like adults and stuff like this. And then like Lucia reported seeing, hearing, and speaking with the apparition. Jacinta reported seeing her but not hearing her, and then Francisco reports seeing her but not hearing her voice, which would suggest like that they're not faking it, given that like a kid would not make up this like very weird thing where like only one kid could see, speak, and hear to the apparition, where the other kids like couldn't do all three of those things. That'd be a weird thing to make up if they're faking it.
Yeah. So like I just have to put in question like
Hmm.
what's about the supernatural hypothesis better explains the datum there.
Well, I'm not finished with the data yet, but I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. But like the message, I'll finish the data and then I'll show you. I'll present you with three naturalistic explanations, and then we can go through why those are not probable. Um, okay. And then the message is calls to prayer and repentance. So we can see that's like probably not a demon. And that it calls for like a prophecy. So it accurately predicts a prophecy, which is the miracle of the sun. It comes with instruction and the promise of a public miracle, like the sun again. And then on June 13th, 1917, the second apparition showed up, right? So this is the second time the apparition showing up. And then like the people showed up, like a bunch of crowds showed up to try to authenticate the miracle themselves. So like in June, around 50 people showed up and they didn't see the apparition itself, but they did describe like physical phenomena that aligned with what the children were saying. Like Lucia was speaking out loud, but like in a very answer question format. Like she was speaking, but they didn't see her, and she was like pausing to wait for an answer and stuff like that. They also saw like the
Yeah.
apparition. Like every time they claimed the apparition would show up, that like smoke would show up out of everywhere.
Yeah, how much of this is relevant to my question?
Well, this is just the data, right? So this is
Well,
not answering your
all no, the
question.
only relevant data would be need levied is that look, there are these three claimed appearances of this person. Now, all the background talk's not really, it really holds no bearing on like the probability talk. You're just giving context, but that's not really needed.
Well, I'm
Also,
doing an abductive case.
well, I'm saying the extra content you're deploying doesn't help or decrease the probability talk there. All I'm asking is now, what about the supernatural hypothesis is favored in competing to the naturalistic hypothesis? I just
Okay,
need that answer.
that's that. Do you know what an abductive case is?
Yeah, look, I'm telling you that the extra
I'm
talking you're
I'm
doing,
I know what you're saying, but I don't know if you know what an
it's
abductive
not.
case is. I'm making an
Don't you want to
abductive
be
case.
You don't think I know what an abductive case
No,
is? Why not?
I don't think you know it because
Yeah.
I'm presenting an abductive argument, and you're not realizing that I'm actually going through
Wait,
the argument.
you'd agree when you give an abductive case, like extra irrelevance context holds no relevant, correct? It's not relevant.
So, yep, analytically, you just said
So
irrelevant
when
context could
you're
be irrelevant. Sure.
right, so when you're talking about smoke, you think the smoke talk there holds any bearing to the
Well,
case?
it's not just about the smoke. It's the fact that whenever the kids claim to
My
see the
point is you're talking
apparition,
about smoke and it's not relevant.
okay,
Let's just get to the
I'm
point.
saying whenever the kids claim to see the apparition, smoke would come out of a tree. That's not something that we
Mm,
see naturally,
right.
right? But
This is the claim, correct?
what the claim is that it's
Hmm.
supernatural, but I'm getting to that conclusion by presenting the data and saying that my conclusion best supports the premises, right? Do you understand how
Okay.
abductive arguments work?
Is there any other relevance you want to say
Yes.
relevance information you want to levy?
Say again?
Is there any supposed relevant information you want to levy?
Yeah, so I just laid the data out on the table and like
That's it, correct
things
though?
that seem to be supernatural, but let's look at some naturalistic explanations of this now. Because
And what do you take supernatural to mean here?
it just violates the laws of nature.
Violates the laws of nature. So you want to say there are some phenomena occurring, and that phenomena is one which violates the law of nature?
Yes.
Okay, and what does it mean to violate the law of nature?
Like some sort of physical impossibility or some sort of physical
Okay,
impossibility.
you think physical impossibilities can be instantiated?
Yeah.
Okay, and what does it mean for something to be impossible?
That it wouldn't be possible under this modality.
Well, no, I'm asking what does that mean? Not to repeat
It
it.
can't be done under
Well,
this modality.
can't's another modal verb, by the way.
Right. So I'm
Like
just
when you
saying
say
under a
something's
given
impossible, what's
modality,
being said there?
it's not possible.
What does it mean to be not possible is what's being put in question.
What sort of do you want me to search it up? That's pretty exhaustive, but
Well,
let's go to it.
it's not exhaustive. When I say it's not exhaustive, I hope you understand what's being said there.
So when I say possible, that just describes something that can exist, happen, or be achieved, or something that may occur through, though it's not certain. Like, I don't know why we get
Hmm.
into like the semantics of definitions. I think you know what I
No,
mean by possible. I just
hold
mean that
on.
it's not. It can't be carried out
When I ask
under a
you,
given
right,
category.
so this is the problem. So you want to say some given phenomena is occurring, but then simultaneously that given phenomena can't occur. Well, then your view just entails a contradiction, and I could extrapolate the P
I'm
and
not
NP and
just saying
the
I didn't
derivation
just
relation.
implicit or say that it can't occur. And you're running away from the abductive argument, which I get why you're
No,
doing that
I'm
because you probably
not.
never looked into something like that.
Wait, hold on. We're talking about it right now because you're saying the supernatural talk is saying there is some action that's
I can just
occurring,
give you an
but
example.
that
You don't have
action
to
is going to
define these
be
terms.
it's physically impossible.
Okay,
Now,
wait.
when you say there is phenomena that's occurring that's impossible simultaneously, I'm saying prima facie there's contradiction talk unless you can clear that up.
Wait, okay, you do. I guess I'll just ask then. Do you think it's possible for there to be some sort of non-physical
Phone on
existence?
the charger.
Do you think it's
Can you hear
possible?
me?
Yeah, yeah. Do you think it's possible
Uh,
for there to be? There's
okay,
no
hold
contradiction,
on.
and by
Oh
possible, I just mean there's
shit.
no contradiction in logic. So it's possible for there to be some non-physical existence that would, I don't know, say be distinct from another non-physical existence. You think that's
Hold
possible?
on.
Okay, he's. I'm just gonna let him come. I'm gonna wait for him to come back.
Yo. All right, I gotta like maximize this last little 12%. So, what was your? I don't. First of all, I don't even accept that question is aerotechnically sound, but for the sake of charity, I'll answer the question. Just recapitulate it.
Oh, I'm. Wait, you don't think the question? I'm just asking. Do you think that it's possible for a non-physical existence to be distinct from another non-physical existence?
A non-physical existence. Yeah, of course, it's possible. Well, why is that
Well,
relevant to
because
my
if
objection?
it's possible, and we're talking about something outside the realm of physics, then that would be something that's
No,
supernatural under my view.
wait, but now that's an equivocation. It appears because you said supernatural talk is violating the laws of physics.
That's what I just said.
Wait, but you're a
Okay,
little
bro.
confused.
Okay, I guess I'm
Wait, hold
confused.
on.
Whatever.
Let me explain. Being non-physical and violating the laws of physics aren't the same because you can be physical and comport with the laws of physics. But here's a further point I want to elucidate on. You said that it was physically impossible, right? Violating the laws of physics is physically impossible. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were saying there are things that are instantiated that are violating the laws of physics, correct?
Yeah.
So you want to say the laws of physics are being violated, and simultaneously it's impossible to violate them?
I'm saying if it's violent. I'm
Is that a
sorry.
yes or no?
No,
Is
no,
that a yes
that's
or
not what
no?
I'm saying.
Okay.
You want me to
What are you
explain
saying?
now?
Yeah,
Or
of course.
okay. So, because you just asked for yes or no, but what I'm saying is that if these laws are violated, it would fall under a different modality. I never said it's impossible to violate the laws. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because when I say something is supernatural, I'm saying it does violate those physical laws.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that if it violates these physical laws, then it's not
Yeah.
something. It would be considered supernatural under my view.
Got you.
Okay. I
Okay.
think I just repeated myself.
And what it means to violate a physical law is what?
It just means it falls outside of that modality.
Well, physical laws aren't modalities. That's a confused notion there.
It would okay, so physical laws would deal with things that can be like tested and repeated in
You want to
science and
say
stuff
they're
like
not
that.
constraints by the physical laws?
Yes, material things.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's be clear. Let's go back to the that you think I'm dodging the case.
Mhm.
Now, laws being violated.
Okay, so the law that would be being violated is that these if the claims are true, is that if the kids are seeing this apparition, but the people that showed up are not seeing the apparition, what's happening is that they're getting a local apparition. So what's happening is that they're visually seeing this thing in front of them, like it's supposed to be light that's entering their retinas and then like light bouncing off them and entering the retinas, but that's not happening for everyone else. That's only happening for
Ask you
these
what
kids.
physical. Notice how I asked you to name the physical law, and you didn't name the physical
Well,
law that
you
was
can
being
see how that's
violated.
a violation of a physical law, right?
Which physical law is being
Well, I'm
violated?
asking you. You can see that.
No, well, that's a dodge, by the way.
It's not.
No, it's
I
your.
asked you a question. Do you think by me
You
not answering a
you a-
question that
you
I
answered
asked
my
you for?
question.
No,
You
no, no,
answered
no,
my
no.
question with a question.
No,
Do you
I
notice that?
didn't. No,
Yeah, I
you
said
didn't.
which physical law is being violated, and you said you can see there's one being violated.
No, I
So
did.
that's answering a
No,
question
I
with a
did not. No,
question.
you said which physical law is being violated, and then I gave you
Uh
an
huh.
example of what seems like a physical
No,
law being violated, and then you said something like, "Yeah, what physical law is being violated?" I said, "Don't
yeah,
you think we can see that a physical law is being violated?"
no. So I don't accept that, and I
Okay,
that's your. You'd agree that's your audience, right?
irrelevant? No.
No, I said it's your audience, right? You made the given claim. There's a physical law which is being violated for that to be justified that the given action there is supernatural. I didn't put in question for you to name the supernat or name the physical law. It seems like you're not equipped to do that, but that's a
Well, I'm not
prerequisite.
familiar with the quote unquote names of physical laws, but I don't think that's relevant to my argument. I can just
It
say,
is.
no, I can just say by violation of physical laws, I can just say it seems to be physically impossible.
Oh,
And that
so
but
your
it would also
seemings
have to be,
determine.
it would have to
So
be
your
physically
seemings
impossible as well.
determine. Okay, now look at what's just been done here.
Okay.
So you've now committed yourself to saying seemings determine what's supernatural.
But it would
correct, though?
also have to be physically
So
possible.
if it seems to me that there's a violation of the supernatural or the natural laws, therefore supernatural, correct?
I just said it also has to be physically violating the laws as well.
Oh, okay. It has now. When you say it has to be the case, you're saying it's a fact of the matter. So if it is a fact of the matter, I'm asking, okay, and a fact of what matter indexed to what law? What law of
Dude,
what
I don't know these.
laws?
I don't know the names,
Alright.
right? But you would. I'm just gonna ask you a question.
That's a
I don't know
problem.
the exact. It's not a problem, right? Because
That's your
people
burden.
disagree. No, it's not. Why? Okay. What about me proving or naming the law is going to
Mhm.
help motivate the argument?
I'll tell you why. Because you want to say it's a fact of the matter that there is a law being
No,
violated.
I never said that.
Because wait, let me tell you how you're committed to that. What it means
That doesn't
to be
mean I have to name it.
supernatural.
Wait, that doesn't even mean I have to name it.
It doesn't mean you have to name it. But for
Good.
you, hold on. You can be agnostic on the label, but still know. You could even like elucidate on the content of the given law. This given law does X, Y, and Z. This given law constrains X, Y, and Z to occur. You're not even expounding on what
Okay,
the law
I can
does.
expound on like a description of what it would.
Yeah,
that's
what's
fine.
the law?
Okay. The description of what I don't know the name of the law, but the description of it would
What's
be
the
something
content of it?
Yes, the content of the law would be something like light bounces off a given object and comes into our retinas, and that's how we experience things. But the kids are experiencing the actual apparition themselves, the light bouncing off the object, or I don't even know. The light might be bouncing off the object, but they're seeing something, and then these individuals over here are not seeing that thing. So the light is not actually bouncing off this thing. However, the kids are still seeing it, which would be a supernatural phenomenon.
So
all three of them.
hold on.
By the way,
You're saying the law says light bounces off objects and then our eyes can pick it up?
Yeah.
Doop, doop. And then you want to say, so there is some given phenomena that's occurring. There are kids who see this. It's a fact of the matter. Kids see this, but other people don't see it. Therefore, there's some supernatural phenomena occurring.
Yep.
Most likely.
Most likely.
I don't accept so even if we're to accept that other people couldn't see it. Okay, boom. Let's just talk about the other competing hypothesis, right?
That's
Let's
what I've
just
been trying to
take-
get to this whole time. I was going to
Hold on,
present you with
chill,
three naturalistic
chill,
explanations, and you were,
chill,
and I was. That's what I was getting to. You
chill,
can go back.
chill.
I'm good.
We're getting back to the background
Okay.
assumptions, commitments yet. Okay. Now take something like just some epistemic gap, or you could say something like visual hallucinations or something.
Okay.
Now this gonna be extremely more likely given my priors that there was gonna be some
I'm not talking about a Bayesian
hallucination.
analysis right
Hold
now.
on, hold on.
I'm not talking about a Bayesian analysis.
Hold on. We're talking
I
about
don't-
what's
we're
more
not
likely.
talking about priors.
It-
Priors. We're not
Wait, you
talking
don't
about
think priors hold any relevance relation to some abductive case?
only if you're talking about a Bayesian analysis. I'm not
No,
talking about. I'm making an
no.
I'm making an inductive
Hold on.
argument.
You know, you can priors hold relevance to inductive cases. You know that, right?
Only in Bayesian analysis.
Wait, you want to say you're using some other theory of probability?
I'm using just an argument from reason.
What theory of probability are you working on?
I'm not holding it to a single. It's induction.
Wait, do you know induction talks about probability?
Yes, I'm talking about induction.
What theory of probability of
I'm not holding
induction,
to. I'm not. We can get to the Bayesian analysis after. We're talking about what best explains the data.
Do you think induction requires theory of probability?
Yes.
Perfect. So when you say I'm merely making an inductive case, and at first you said it's abductive.
For now.
But so hold on, let's just stay consistent. Yeah. Even if you're for now, you're making the inductive case. What their probabilities being utilized?
I'm not okay. I can use the Bayesian analysis later, but I don't want to talk. We're not talking about priors right now, because right now I'm not making a claim, so I can't have priors to a claim I'm not making.
Even if you want to dismiss the prior talk, you still tell me the theory.
I haven't made a claim.
That's
yet.
fine.
So how can I have priors?
You made the claim that the supernatural hypothesis wins out over the competing hypothesis.
I haven't yet.
You did make that.
I haven't.
Yes, you
No,
have.
I haven't.
You said that on the onset of dialect.
I literally haven't.
Bet 1,000.
That I said the supernatural hypothesis, given what the data I just said, it best explains this?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why I said that though?
Bet me 1,000. You know, you just said you didn't say it. Now you are saying you did say it.
Okay. I'll explain to you what I meant by when I said I didn't.
God.
I'll explain to you what I meant. Watch. But what I meant by I didn't say that is I didn't outright just claim it given the data by itself. I claimed it because I don't think the naturalistic explanation has any explanatory power. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
So we have
but
to
you
go.
did
We
make the
have to
claim.
go through the
Okay.
naturalistic explanations
Now,
first before we can get to why the
yeah.
supernatural explanation
Let's
it best
let's
explains the
take a
data.
hallucination. Let's just take a like a
Hallucination
hallucination account.
hypothesis.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's take that. Yep.
Okay. So
Now,
what are the chances of like
what?
two kids
Hold
hallucinating
on.
the same apparition?
Hold on. You want to say no? This is burden shifting. I just levied a hypothesis. Now you want to say
You just gave the claim
you
that
did wait.
let's take a this is your
Look,
claim that
look,
okay, I think
look.
that the hallucination
You
hypothesis explains the data.
no.
You
You're a
just
little
said it does.
confused.
Okay.
So on the onset, you said, given any naturalistic hypothesis, the supernatural one wins out on us, right?
Mhm.
The question there is, if we were to just deposit a hallucination account, what, how is the supernatural account going to win out?
Okay, so let's take the hallucination hypothesis then, and let's go through it, right? So the hallucination hypothesis says that three kids were hallucinating voices, they were hallucinating visual appearances, they were hallucinating what's it called? Oh yeah, they were hallucinating conversations that they're having with this person, and then when all three of them were interrogated, they described the exact same apparition perfectly, meaning it was some sort of group hallucination. You would that's what the hypothesis is
Oh,
saying, right?
well, no. So them having shared observations doesn't mean it was a group thing, but so yeah, and we can just
They're
say yeah,
hallucinating the same
so
event.
the hallucination hypothesis accounts for all the relevant phenomena, but it doesn't commit you to any metaphysic robust talk
I'm
like
not making a
gods.
deductive argument. I'm
And
not saying this.
I didn't
I'm
say
saying that
you're making a deduct. What, do you understand how a comparison
I'm not
of
committing to
hypothesis
any
works?
metaphysical views yet.
Wait, so when you say supernatural, that's like metaphysically
I'm
quiet?
saying that at the end of the
Yes or no?
argument is going to explain the data, but we haven't gone through the
Because
natural
wait,
explanations yet.
I take the supernatural talk to already be metaphysically bloated.
You take the super. Well, I'm not. We're not talking about whether or not. We're not talking about the nature of this
We're
supernatural
we're
being. We're
talking
not
about
talking.
which hypothesis is more
We're not.
likely.
I
What
know,
are you
but we're
saying?
not talking about whether or not supernaturalism is even real yet. We can even say
I
supernaturalism.
didn't
Wait,
say
wait, 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 wait.
you think that's what
We
I'm
can even
saying?
say. We can even
I'm not
say.
saying that.
We can say that naturalism is true and that nothing
Buddy,
supernatural.
I'm not.
Wait, wait.
You're confused. I'm not saying that. So why are you telling me to wait? That's irrelevance.
Okay, what you're saying is that there's some more metaphysical commitments that I have to make because I claim that the supernatural explanation is better.
I-
But I'm
I'm
not even
saying
there in the arg yet. I'm not even there in the
your
arg.
hypothesis commits you to more things. So we could explain all the datum with less commitments given the naturalistic hypothesis than the supernatural hypothesis is all I'm saying. What are you yapping about?
That's not all you said,
And
right?
I and I have
You said I'm forced to
9%,
commit myself
so
to certain things. Oh, damn, bro.
I got like 5 minutes left, boss.
All
You
good,
want to
bro.
give the supernatural hypothesis and tell me how
No,
it's more
let's
likely?
talk about the naturalistic hypotheses because right now I can let's go through it. Let's say the children were lying, right? They were lying about seeing this apparition. They
What?
were just holding. Okay, I'm gonna give you three naturalistic
We can
hypotheses.
say they were, no, use the one I just gave you. What are you
The
doing?
hallucination.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying best explains the data under the naturalistic hypothesis, or maybe you just want to investigate the hypothesis. You're saying the kids hallucinated this apparition, right? And they described the clothes perfectly. They described the rosary holding perfectly. What else did they describe? That it was a woman, that she was extremely beautiful, that she was bright, hard to look at. Her clothes, her cloak. They hallucinated all these things, and then when
Mm-hmm.
interrogated separately, they literally regurgitated the data consistently with each other when interrogated individually.
You've been over all this. So now tell
Okay.
me how does the supernatural hypothesis win
No,
out? Go
we're not.
ahead.
So we're talking about whether or not the hallucination can account for that.
Yeah, yeah, of course it can. What are you saying?
Okay. Would we say that it's probably likely that that happened?
Probably likely. What the fuck
Would
does
we
that
say
mean?
it's probably the case that it happened? My bad, bro. Like, jeez.
Okay, so I don't. That's not relevant.
We're
Also, hold
talking
on.
about a probabilistic
Hold on.
argument right now.
No. The point of this line of reasoning is to compare the hypotheses.
No.
Which hypothesis wins out? Yeah. Yes,
No.
you said the supernatural hypothesis wins out on
We haven't even
on the
gotten to the
naturalistic
miracle of the sun
hypothesis.
yet. We haven't even gotten to the miracle of the sun. We're just talking
Is
about
it a,
the apparition.
I'll tell you all I'm saying. All I'm saying is a hallucination hypothesis can relevantly account for all the given datum. Now, you talk about what's more likely when we do a
I
comparative
agree that it can
analysis.
account for it, but it's not the probabilistic case. We're talking about whether or not it's probably the case Catholicism is true.
Invert. Wait, huh? We're talking. Wait, what?
Why are you Catholic?
Hold on. The whole point on the onset was we're talking about God exists. It wasn't Catholicism.
Okay, I
When
believe.
I first joined, you said, so you want to talk about God's existence? We weren't talking about God's existence implicit or not about
Wait,
Catholicism, buddy.
that's
What do you?
that's fine, bro. But like, if the
Uh,
even if you were to admit
okay,
that, like, if God exists and that the apparition is like an inductive argument for God's existence, it would literally prove Catholicism. But
but
that's
I
besides
don't
the
even
point.
think you've gotten us to believe that it's more likely God exists than unlikely.
Okay, but right now we're talking about an inductive argument, so it is very relevant to ask whether or not this is a
Why
probabilistic
are you
case.
not doing
Why
any
are you
work?
cutting me off, bro? I am. I just presented you with all the data. I even
Uh
presented you
huh.
with possible theories of naturalistic explanations, and we can even look at them and just say, is it probably likely? Or again, I use say that again.
In
Is it probably
contrast
the
to
case?
what?
Okay, in it's the view probably the case. That's all we can say about. Okay, let's talk. Let's take the hallucination view. Is it probably the case? And I know you don't want to answer this because it defeats your entire point of bringing it up. Is it probably the case that all three kids were hallucinating?
Yeah. So when you ask me that question, I answer in virtue of my priors. Right? So, given my priors, yeah, it will be probably the case they're hallucinating. Given like I have like seen studies where people have these uncommon events occur, and then the explanation of those events were hallucinations. I've seen hallucinations account for visions where nobody sees the visions but a set person. I've seen hallucinations account for audio, um, sounds, blase blase. So yeah, I'd say it's probably a hallucination. Yeah, of
Okay, so
course.
do you know, you probably know this. Do you know that attributing things to your conclusion, predications to your conclusion, lowers your priors?
Attributing what to my
So
conclusion?
so when you take your conclusion and you add all these things to it, right? And you're saying, okay, the
Add
kids
what?
hallucinated. Okay, given all the data, these kids
Mm-hmm.
hallucinated. So you're saying, given all this data and the kids hallucination, all of that right there lowers your priors. So you're gonna have to prove
I,
all.
how does it lower my
You
priors?
you don't know this?
How does it? Hold on. Don't do this tactic where you start like acting shocked. So, what's the argument that that lowers my
That's
priors?
not an argument. That's how the Bayesian analysis
Wait,
works. We
that's
can get
making the
we
claim.
can no we can get.
Justify that
Okay,
claim.
I got you. Let's just look up how the Bayesian analysis works.
You don't know? You have to look it up.
I have to show you. You don't know because you realize that your conclusion,
What do you think a
given the
prior
things
is?
given the things that you attribute to your conclusion, it lowers your priors. Let's look at it.
What do you think a prior is?
Bro. I'm gonna look it up, bro.
So it's gonna be a long-winded conversation because you have to look this shit up.
Yes.
What? What are you gonna look it up on AI?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the AI, or I can go to the
I mean,
Stanford
like, just given the type of talk I'm using,
Bayesian.
my conceptual model is not the case. My priors are lowered in virtue of that.
You can talk if you want. Go ahead. I'm not really listening. I'm trying to look it up.
How long is that gonna take?
Just give me a sec. Like a couple minutes, maybe 1 minute.
A couple
Like
minutes.
a minute, bro. Relax. 2 minutes is like count to 120, dude. Relax.
Yo, mid debate, this dude starts chat GPT and
I
shit.
have to do it because you don't believe that adding to your conclusion reduces your priors. That's
You
literally
can't.
that's given.
Yeah, you have to chat GPT shit mid debate, bro. That's not good
It's
look.
just in a chat.
What are you doing? You're supposed to debate off your own knowledge. What the hell?
Well, you're wrong
What are
about.
you
Do you know what the
doing?
Bayesian analysis is?
Okay, wait, hold on. You said it lowers my priors. I
Mhm.
deny that.
Okay.
But when we debate, and it's supposed to be your knowledge, not the computer's knowledge. What are you doing?
Updates from posterior
If
distribution.
we were like,
The more data.
if
The
we
more
were face to
information
face, would you
priors
whip
produce.
out your phone?
Here you go. Yes, I
Oh
actually, I
shit.
absolutely would. Here you go. This is AI. You can tell me like, okay, in the Bayesian analysis, adding new data to a model does not technically change the prior distribution, but it updates for it to a form of posterior distribution. The more
Right?
data, listen, the more data that is added, the more influence in the initial prior is reduced, causing the
Okay,
posterior
so
belief to shift towards the data. So it lowers your priors.
when you say more data added, that's given what you're accounting for?
Yeah, so the more data you add to your conclusion, the more it lowers your prior's influence.
Wait, do you take a prior just to be like background evidence?
It's talking about the data that can
Yeah,
explain it.
yes or no?
Background evidence?
Yeah.
No.
Oh well, we're just using priors, definitely, right? Because when I talk about my priors, I'm just talking about background evidence I have, right?
Well,
And I
let's
use
just
the
use that.
background. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so it
So
lowers the
given
influence of your background influence. That's what it's saying.
not well, I don't accept that view.
Okay,
I don't accept
are
that
you
type of
using
talk.
priors in the different way than the Bayesian analysis?
I'm using it how I've just elucidated it.
Okay, so are you using priors in a different way than the Bayesian analysis uses the word
In a
priors?
different way, the AI just gave it to you. Yeah,
We
of
can. Do you
course.
want to go to Stanford or something? Like, what do you want? What do you want, bro?
No, we can use it how I'm using it, or if you want to take that notion, right? Um,
Who uses
I
it the
just
way you're
wouldn't.
using it? I don't know how you're using it.
I just wouldn't see why. Like I'd be. Oh, I'm sorry. Like conceptually motivated to adopt that notion of Bayesian
Because
talk, but this is meta though because even given the interpretation, you want to make the claim the supernatural hypothesis still wins out. Now that's not
we're
clear.
not there yet, dude. You're
Well,
so impatient.
let's get
Okay,
there.
so you agree that given the data, which lowers the influence of your priors about the hallucination
No, I deny
hypothesis,
that
okay,
interpretation.
so then you're denying the Bayesian analysis, and this debate is over.
No, that doesn't follow. Wait,
You
have you
wanted
ever
to use
heard
a
of
Bayesian
like
analysis.
you can use for one, I don't even know I should think your notion is one which is used in the academic literature, given it's fucking AI and AI spouts out contradictory statements all the time. Nevertheless, you think if even our license say you charge me with idiosyncratic notion, it means the debate's now over? No,
Idiosyncratic.
yeah, you can employ idiosyncratic notions and the debate proceeds as long as you know what I mean when I say prior. So given that you know what I mean, is it a case that you can give a competing hypothesis which wins
Do
out?
you know what lowers the background
You got
evidence's
you're gonna keep
influence?
dodging.
Well, I think you're just jargon spamming at this point. Right? So do you,
I'm not, what did I just say?
I don't know because I think you're jargon spamming.
So instead of saying you think I jargon spin, ask me to clarify what I'm saying
Well, I
there
don't
because
think
it's
you
all
even know what you're
substantive.
saying, right? So I don't even think you could repeat what you just said
You
back to me.
said if it was idiosyncratic, the debate's over, and I
I
responded to
never
that.
said that.
You said, "Oh, you're not using how this is used like here. The debate's over. You're not using it. The Bayesian
I said
notion.
if
The
you're
debate's
not
over."
using the Bayesian analysis, then the debate's over because that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so once again, is the debate about your view being more likely or what?
The debate is about my view being more likely given the Bayesian
Perfect.
analysis by using
Okay.
abductive reasoning.
Right. Now, what's going to be the argument for that claim?
What's the argument for the claim that that's what the argument is about?
No, what's the argument for the claim that your view is more likely given the Bayesian
Okay,
reasoning?
so we have to go through the Latin naturalistic explanations. My claim is that the supernaturalistic explanation is more likely. I think his phone's about to die, bro.
We're gonna have to resume this another time.
No worries, bro. No worries. All right, his phone died, but there's Kylo for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.